contents of another VO podcast may cause drowsiness, itchy forehead, burning armpits, or headache. Some less known side effects include mashed toes, sore egos, irritable bowel, or just an old-fashioned case of red ass. Opinions given are not fact but opinion, and names have been changed to protect the three idiots who record this podcast.
Believe it or not, it's another VO podcast with three guys who are full-time voice actors at different stages of life, career, and location.
But they have formed a bond and work together to hold each other accountable and help each other on their VO path.
Three guys from different backgrounds working together, helping each other, and sharing with you along the way.
Hey, what are we calling it again?
It's another VO podcast.
Okay, guys. Sorry, I get it. Come on. You're not my dads. What is going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Another VO Podcast. I am your host, Jake Sanders, along with my other host, Troy Holden.
Hello.
Jennifer. I don't know why I started off. I am your host. I'm one of your hosts.
That's
It's
so
strictly
laid back.
business.
Yeah,
strictly
I'm
business.
so laid
You're
back.
so
Hello.
chill today, Jake.
Hello, and welcome to another VO Podcast.
Have you been doing a lot of conversational reads this morning?
There you
You know
go.
what? I have not. I don't know. Have I auditioned for anything today? I've auditioned for one thing today, and it might
Really?
have been a conversational thing. I don't remember it. No, I just I don't know. Today was leg day at the gym, and leg day always freaking just like takes me out of it. And I don't mean
Yeah.
I mean I'm just like like I know I'll recover and I'll have more energy later, but I'm just like right now I'm just like leg day is kicking my butt, and
Yeah.
I'm paying the price. But you guys get to hear this version of Jake today.
Do you like a post-workout drink, like a protein shake or chocolate milk or?
Oh, I do stuff like that. Yeah, no. So
Yeah.
my go-to right now is I go to Smoothie King and I get a 20-ounce Hulk. And I get, instead of the butter pecan ice cream, I get the fat-free frozen vanilla yogurt, and then I add in some creatine for that extra help in the muscle building. It's this. Yeah, did I say strawberry Hulk?
No.
Oh, okay. Well, it's a strawberry Hulk. So it's like
Okay,
it's
okay.
basically a strawberry shake with some protein and then creatine in it. It's some good stuff. Probably gonna have to stop going there soon though, because the bill adds up. When you go to the
It
gym,
does. It does.
when you go to the gym 4 times a week and
Yeah.
you're playing anywhere, because I do have the app, so I do get some healthy rewards. But when you're paying anywhere from about let's see. I think at its lowest I pay about $7, and then at its highest I pay like about like $9.50. So if I do that 4 days out of the week, then obviously I'm spending. I mean, that's like that's like a couple of Netflix subscriptions a day.
Oh, man. Yeah.
So,
Yeah,
anyway.
it can be costly.
I'm just glad we don't have that stuff much here. I mean, we've got a Dunkin' Donuts, and that's
Do you mean
about
like
it.
you're glad you don't have it because so you can't go get one kind of
Yeah.
thing?
Yeah, because I go to Dunkin' and just get a coffee for $3, and I feel bad about it. But
For sure. I hear that.
Yeah.
I just love their stuff, and I mean, like
It
I have
is. It's
stuff to
good.
make a protein shake at home, and I do every now and then because I need the the extra protein, so I'll have another one at home later. I really just need to go and get just buck up and go get like a thing of creatine and just make my own shake, and I'd save so much more money.
Yeah.
But anyway, guys, it's October. It's October 5th.
Yeah,
We're in the last quarter.
I know.
Yeah.
How do you guys
For
feel
sure.
about that?
I'm optimistic.
Yeah.
I hear so many people talking about how busy the end of the year is. Jenna and I had an automotive workshop last night, and her thing of, I don't want to do any more the rest of the year because I'm too busy. I can't work and do this many commercials all day long and come in with fresh ears and give people good feedback. And I appreciate that. But I hope I'm that busy. And I thought, well, maybe I'm not. But I was looking today at what over the last couple of weeks, I was like 1, 2, 3, 4. There's like 9 different decent bookings, so I can't complain. I think it is picking up, and I think it's going to be a good last quarter. But then you're also hearing a lot of people saying this should be, for most people, one of the slowest years in several.
Mm-hmm.
And so I don't know.
Hearing that industry wide, which actually makes me feel a little better because I'm not so hard on myself. If everybody's seeing the slowdown, I need to take it a little easier on myself and not be, so discouraged as I could be, because I had goals for this year and I'm not going to reach those goals. However, I'm ahead of where I was last year.
Yeah.
And there's probably a lot of voiceover talent that can't say that. So I feel good that I am ahead of last year.
I'm hearing that where people said they were typically used to a 25% increase or, some even bigger, that this year they're pretty happy just to level up. And that's good.
I'm interested to see how it goes. I mean, like so far, as far as October goes, some wins have happened. Haven't necessarily booked anything, but got a couple short lists. I've had some demo favorites or whatever. People looking at me, some private invites going on. Haven't booked anything just yet, but I mean, there's optimism. There's things to celebrate every day. Celebrate your wins. Definitely take them and use that to fuel your motivation to staying positive. I really think staying positive is a good thing for not only, your business, but for your mental health. I mean, it's so easy to get down on ourselves, and we've talked about it so many times about getting down on ourselves. But when you can find at least one good thing a day at the end of your day, like what good thing happened, even if it's not voiceover related. I mean, just find one good thing about your day that, may not have had the best day in voiceover, but today this happened or whatever. Or maybe,
heck yeah.
Maybe I didn't book anything today, but I did get that short list, or someone so-and-so reached out to me and said they liked what they hear, kind of thing. I don't know. You just got to find one good thing a day to keep your positive mentality going.
Yeah. And you can't really help it, but sometimes that discouragement is going to find its way into your reads, into your auditions. If you're down, if you're letting yourself lose that mental game, that's going to show up in your reads. And I heard somebody say one time that people don't like to hire desperate people. If you come into a job interview and you seem desperate,
right,
that kind of is a turnoff, and they don't want to hire you.
Yeah.
So that's the big key for your next job. Don't quit your job and then go look for a job. If you're trying to get out of work, have a job lined up before you quit and turn in your resignation.
That's actually really smart. Yeah, desperate. And some of the marketing stuff that I've learned is you don't want to come off as desperate, and that's the reason why. People don't want to hire desperate people. They want to work with people who got it together. And when you're desperate, you don't necessarily got it together all that much, right?
Yeah. If you're, I know back when I used to hire a lot of people, it was, you'd interview 8-10 people, and a couple of them weren't working. Well, how long have you not been working? Well, I've been looking for about 6-8 weeks. I always liked hiring somebody that another company didn't really want to let them go. You were usually getting a better person. And that's kind of this. If you're working and you're engaged and you're positive and you're doing your thing, it's going to come out and it'll all work out. It will. Hey, let's talk about the elephant in the room for a second.
There's an elephant in the room?
Yeah.
I didn't think you guys could see him. Hey.
The change at voices.com.
Oh yeah, the emails. Right This week has been full of announcements.
A lot going on. I think they're fixing to. I could be wrong. I just feel like they're fixing to really shake it up.
Well, okay. So did you guys watch Paul's video on that today?
I haven't yet. I will.
October 5th that we're recording.
No, but I saw his video last week.
Right. Paul addresses is talking about it in his video today. And again, this is October 5th. You guys will be hearing this on the 13th, I believe, October the 13th. Ooh.
Yeah. We're talking about Paul Schmidt, by the way.
Paul Schmidt. Yeah. So sorry. He talked about David stepping down as CEO, and in his opinion, he doesn't think that's necessarily a good thing, which is, I get it. I mean, when you watch his video, it makes sense. But when you first just read the email, if you get the email, I'm sure a lot of us did if you're listening to this, you're kind of like, oh, great, finally, right? Like, get him out of there and let's try something else, see what else someone else can do. But Paul's whole thing was talking about, I guess Morgan Stanley is like the predominant owner of Voices kind of thing, or like the shareholder wise. And they put in somebody who's never been a CEO before from Morgan Stanley, right? And he said the first thing they're going to start doing is looking how to get, recoup some of the money that they put into it. I guess it was around 18 million back in, I'm probably quoting this wrong. I think he said 2017, something like that. And how do you start doing that? How do you start recouping that? You start cutting costs. And where are you going to cut the costs at, right? On the back end of things. I mean, maybe they're going to look to sell voices.com to somebody else, and then it's going to be up to somebody else to run the thing, so I don't know what to expect. Paul makes some good points, and I'm not going to go into them mainly because I can't recall all of them at this moment. But if you haven't already seen Paul's video, go check it out, his YouTube channel or his Instagram. He posted everywhere. It's on LinkedIn, Instagram, YouTube. Go check it out. But it is very interesting. But yeah, at first, like, what did you guys, when you guys got the letter and you read it, what were your first thoughts about Cicerelli stepping down?
Well, I've had concerns about voices.com for a little while.
Sure.
Some just seemingly unusual decisions they've made over the past year in their strategy
Mm-hmm.
and in their interactions with voiceover talent. And we don't know what's happening on the other end for the client side.
Right.
But at first I thought, okay, well, maybe they're going to do some good things here. But then saw that he was actually going to move and be in charge of strategy. I'm like, okay, but that's the part I thought they needed to change. So,
well, was he going to be in
didn't
charge of that, or
necessarily.
is he just stepping into a strategic advisor role?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, well, maybe I misread. I thought he was advising the strategy of the future.
I think it's a step one to being completely out of the way.
Yeah.
Like pushing
and I
him
could
out?
be wrong. Yeah, I think so.
Well, and a lot
I think
of
they are
times-
taking it over. And believe me, I've seen companies that had operations people in charge, and it got bought out or something changed, and
I
they
have
put
too.
accountants in charge, and that's what I see here, and that was never good.
That's
for
concerning.
anybody, because
Right.
it was all about the money. They didn't care how they got the money. They didn't care what they did to cut to make it profitable, to get it done on paper, and then the company would go up for sale because the numbers look better, and that was when
And that's
somebody
what Paul
swooped
talks
in.
about
So,
now that you're saying that way.
yeah,
He
that
talks
to
about
me
that.
looks like that could be, and that's from an old business point of view, that, from being in larger corporations for a lot of years. That's kind of what I see, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Well, when
that's interesting.
relationships take a back seat to the bottom line, that it can look like the bottom line has gotten better because you've cut some things, but you've actually started to ruin your reputation.
Mm-hmm.
And that makes the future of the company grim, not brighter, in my opinion.
Yeah, it'll make a difference.
Well,
I think we'll see some changes or things, but we'll see.
I'm interested to see what the changes look like, because I don't know what they're thinking in terms of if they're going to want to actually just get rid of voices or in one way or another. But I mean, like, even if you think about the last couple of years, some of the changes they have made, it kind of baffles me, because it's like, this doesn't make you look good. This makes you look worse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This doesn't like they don't cater to the voice actor. Obviously, they're trying to make money. I get that, but I mean, like, the more limits they put, like when I first got on Voices, you didn't have to like base your quote with the 20% that they were going to collect, right? It was the other way around. Like, people would give you the quote. So like if their budget was $100 to $249, like that's an average one you see or whatever, and you put $250 in there, then they would add the 20% onto that for on the client side, on the client facing side. And then they switched it to the voice actor side. So that way the client would be aware of everything they were going to be paying up front, kind of thing, based on their budget range. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So like you were getting less per job versus what and I remember
like now with that, the directed session thing being in there separate on some quotes,
right?
That throws me off, because a lot of times I'm including it anyway.
Yeah, me
right?
too.
Yeah.
Short,
my blurb in there is just like, look, it includes a directed session. I'm not dealing with that. I only filled it out because there's an empty hole there, and I don't want there to be any kind of confusion. But it's obviously not on every job, and it's got to be some kind of option you click. It's like, do you want a directed session?
What worries me about it is, let's say it's $1,000 total,
sure,
and you quote $750 for the project and $250 for the directed session. Not thinking you're going to get the 1,000 because they're going to want a directed session, right? And then all of a sudden they just give you the $750 and it goes self-direct or whatever. I just wouldn't like that. I don't like that. I don't like it being an option. I'd rather they take it or it's not there.
Yeah. I still quote. I quote everything in the first bar. I don't ever fill out that. I mean, like, there's a blurb in there where it says, talk about your directed session things. Like, look, I offer directed session if you want it, but otherwise you're paying for the whole thing. I mean, like, yeah. I mean, I don't.
It's just more confusion.
It is, and it just kind of shows you how disconnected that idea was.
And I would, when I look at the other platform, Voice 123, I like the fact that on there, it doesn't matter if I communicate off the platform. Doesn't matter what I do. There's no extra fee. I've paid my fee up front. I'm done. I love that. I mean, that's so much easier to deal with and work with. Like I had somebody reach out today and ask something, and I said, hey, if it's easier to send me an email, send it here. It doesn't matter. Nobody's watching that. I'm not going to get in trouble for that. And that is so much more, so much easier to deal with.
That is a good thing. And honestly, if anyone listening, if you're on voices.com and you do book a job, I highly urge you to suggest maybe meeting for Zoom, because when you get on Zoom, then you can say, hey, if you want to work together again, here's my email. Let's just work off the site. Save them a little bit of money, get you a little bit more money. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like it just depends on how you look at it. But like Troy was saying, 1, 2, 3, they don't care, and that's fine, because I will say, like, their better tiers on 1, 2, 3 do cost a little bit more money than a premium membership on voices.com. But voices.com strictly prohibits you from talking to them offline, which again, if you get into a Zoom, they can't monitor that. Obviously, they can see your messages and stuff like that. But I don't know why we're just openly talking about this, but I'm just saying.
Well, I mean, Voice 123 sees itself more as a matchmaking service.
Right.
And once they've made the match, now you guys work it out. And they do offer you the client in the convenient way of handling the funds if you want to do that. But you don't even have to do it that way.
You don't have to do it that way. And that's great. The fact that they don't care, like, you know what I mean? Like, sure. I mean, like, is it a couple $100 more depending on which route you're going? Sure. I mean, but yeah, I like that. Now, I will say it'd be great if we had like kind of like the matching system that VDC has on 1, 2, 3. It's so funny what I like about VDC versus what I don't like about 1, 2, 3. And it's almost like if they could just join together. And then, but also forget about some of these, get rid of the bad stuff, join together and keep everything that's good about both platforms.
Yeah.
But that's a long shot, right? I mean, that's a long shot.
Well, and we've all been discussing lately the weight of those platforms in our annual take, and is it worth it for the time you spend auditioning? And, Mark Ryder had a great post about that was hilarious. And
I didn't see that.
I was looking at mine this morning, and I said, I've made this much, and it was only 13 or 12%, I think, of what I made all year. And I said, I don't know that that's worth it. I'd rather spend that time doing something else. 12%. It may be $5,000, but is it worth what I put into it? And it's not the annual $4.99 or $3.99 wherever you happen to get in at. It's not that versus what I made. It's all those auditions I did.
It's your time. If you spend 50% of your time for 12% of your income, that really doesn't make a lot of sense, does it?
No. So what that tells me, based on what I'm seeing here, I should spend less than probably 5% of my time to have an ROI. 10% of my time is one thing. That's a balance. But if I can spend 5% of my day, which in an 8-hour day is not going to be very much, right? And how many days do I actually work 8 hours anymore? Not a ton. So I got that, so.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, like, I looked at my stuff the other day, and I'm about 50-50 with direct versus pay-to-plays. Most of my pay-to-play does come from Voices, but I've had success on Voices since I've got on there. Now,
right?
Is my success this year as good as 2 years ago? No, I mean, like, again, most of my money last year came from Voices, if I remember correctly. But it's everybody's different. It's different for everybody. You guys are thinking about leaving the platform. I'm not quite there yet. I'm having trouble with my marketing stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah,
so I don't know what to trust,
You just have to assess. And here we are, fourth quarter. So at the end of the year, we certainly want to look back at our business and see what was successful and what was not. If I can spend 10% of my time to make 60% of my income, I want to focus on that. I want to add to my strengths. Whatever I'm good at, let's do more of that, because that's what's making me money. Mm-hmm. But if I'm spending 60% of my effort on a smaller amount of my income, 10% of my income, so reverse that, right?
Right.
Then I need to not do that. I need to replace that 60% of my effort with and put it into the area that I'm making money, that I'm being successful.
Right.
So whatever that is, if you're 60% of your income, Jake, is coming from the audition sites, then keep going after that and go maybe even a little harder and drop whatever isn't being successful for you.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, it's just weird because I mean, like, I'm kind of having success from all angles right now. You know what I mean?
There you go. Yeah.
So
That's
maybe
great.
your game plan may not change very much then.
Right.
No, I just
Yeah.
maybe some
And that's
strategic stuff
get
versus
a little more strategic or targeted with the marketing, because if it's not doing what you want it to do, you need to make a small change probably.
Right.
And that's kind of how I'm looking at it. I had a meeting this morning with Hoss Management, which is radio imaging, and I got to do a lot of work on this. You know, although he's the manager, he's not going to go out. I mean, he will at times. He's going to rep me on his site. He's going to talk to people when he's on the phone with different people and stations and promoters about me and what I can do for their country radio station. But he's dropping me list of contacts, long, big list. And then the challenge today is I want you to write me your introduction letter and send it to me. And I'm going to critique it, pick it apart. We're going to dress it up, get it ready. And next week we're going after it. We're going to start marketing.
I love that. That's
awesome.
great. Yeah.
That's
But
great.
here's the cool thing. It's exactly what we're doing.
Well, of course
Exactly.
it is, but
You know?
but now you've got the guy that's in the industry that's trying to get you that work to
He knows how to
and
speak
you don't
the
have to pay anything
language.
extra for it. And
Yeah.
I'm not harping on people that that charge money for their marketing courses or charge money for anything like that. But but you have a partnership where he's going to make money with you.
Yeah.
Which allows
it's
him
a
to do that.
difference.
So that's really cool.
It's a difference. And the thing is, you know, we're going to direct them to his website where they'll see the biography he wrote, the stuff he puts on the website to make it look really good and glamorous.
Right.
And we'll try to drive business that way. And then we're going to do that till the end of the year. And then we're going to start after classic rock stations after the first of the year. And
Well, he's got a game plan
happens
for you. That's nice.
Oh yeah. He's
That's
got a plan. He's very knowledgeable. You know, he was at Atlas for a long time. He's smart guy, knows the industry. Has a big belief that country music is booming, and he said they are the nicest genre in radio to work with. They'll listen to you. And he said this is just like marketing to anything else. Your goal is when they are ready, they know who you are.
Right.
They know you. And he's right. It works that way for everything. I don't care if it's a production house, automotive, whatever. It's when that day of change comes, they go, you remember that Troy guy that emailed us? He's always sending us emails. Let's give him another listen. And maybe you're top of mind. And that's your goal, right?
Right.
I guess. But I'm looking forward to it. I mean, it's a test. I'm going to try it for a year. If it works, great. It builds some business. If it doesn't, then it's off to some other targeted marketing genre.
Well, and here you are, you know, maybe that's what is the correct plan of attack for going into the next year. If you assess that your business, that you're spending a large amount of your time for a small amount, you drop that and reinvest that time into a new genre, you know, for radio imaging or automotive. If you haven't explored those parts of the voiceover world yet, start pursuing those, expand your business.
Right. I agree. There's so many choices out there to make, right? You just got to make good choices. You know,
and sometimes you're not gonna make good choices all the time. Like you're gonna make bad decisions, and those choices will have repercussions. But sometimes you just got to make those choices.
You do
to find out, right? Like to learn, right?
It's just like when you do an audition.
Yeah,
you make a choice as to what you're going to do, what perspective, what point of view you're going to do it, and you commit to it, and you frickin' do it, and then you send it off.
And
it
sometimes
either
some of the
flies or
choices you
doesn't.
make will surprise you.
Yes,
on the results.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
You didn't see it coming.
Absolutely.
If it's the wrong choice, fine, but you got to live with that. But you have to make a choice. You have to determine what. Yeah,
I agree. It's and that's sometimes a struggle because you know you're reading a spec, you're doing this, you're doing that, and you get in your head and da da da. And the best thing to get out of your head, make your choice, stick to it, move on, move on.
No doubt about it.
And we're the same way, you know, with this planning and this marketing. It's like Jake said, you got to make a choice. You pick, you know, I'm going to try this, and the repercussion may not be failure. It just may be it didn't work.
Right.
You know, sometimes the repercussions on marketing your business and doing things in your business aren't, oh my God, I've ruined my business. Oh, I've ruined this part of my. No, it just didn't work. Let's try a different approach.
Yeah.
And we all have experienced that with introductory emails where we've changed them, where we've tried to make them better, you know, and I'm really looking forward to after I sent mine off this morning to Jack to see what comes back.
Right.
What's he
that's
going to do
interesting.
to it?
Yeah.
And all that's going to do is transition over into the other stuff that I'm
Right. It's
sending
going to
out.
give you a better idea how to approach the other stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
sure.
That's good learning there.
Something else to track.
I like it.
Yeah.
That's crazy. Just sometimes voiceover is just, I mean, like, obviously, I don't know, folks, if you were listening, I mean, we kind of just, and it's my week to host, obviously, but we just really didn't have an agenda, didn't have anything to talk about. Now, we did kind of talk about this whole choices thing beforehand, but sometimes that's just what voiceover is like, I don't have an agenda. I just want to try to do voiceover. And so how do I do this? So you try everything all at once, or you try this here and there, you try that over here. I mean, like, that's going to be what your business looks like until you figure out, one, who you are as a voice actor, and then how you want to market yourself. And take it from me, I mean, like, I'm still figuring that out. I took a marketing course over a year ago, and I'm still trying to figure out how I need to go about doing what I'm doing to put myself out there. And I have made great connections in one way or another, whether that's email or going to the One Voice conference and talking to people, or reaching out to agents and getting representation and stuff like that. But that's what you have to do. But you are going to have these times where you just don't know which direction to go into. You just have to make the choice.
Yeah. And keyword business.
Right.
Yeah. You hit it right there. You said it several times. Your voiceover business.
Yes.
Business,
it's not just about auditions and reading and having fun in the booth. Man, is it 80% something else. If you're getting into this thinking this is all I got to do, no, it's 80%, I would say 75, 80% business work, accounting, planning, marketing, reaching out to people, answering emails,
making phone calls.
It's 20% or less of my day every day. Most days less is actually speaking into the microphone. And that can even be, what we do. Podcast. It can be podcasting, getting on other people's podcast. And for me, a lot of times during the day, part of my business research is listening to podcasts or researching, going on and listening to interviews with other people and how they got to where they are, what they're doing. And they may be marketing people. It may be performance stuff or whatever, but you really have to invest a boatload of time into everything to build this business. It's hard.
And there's still people that don't realize that. I saw a post the other day, and it was just like, you just got my stuff set up, but I'm worried about the strike. Am I screwed? Just getting started. Am I screwed? And it was just like, well, first of all, I mean, you're looking at this the wrong way, man. Like, again, it's just classic, like, people jumping in and going, all right, now I'm going to be the voice of somebody, or I'm going to start doing this.
I got a great example of this yesterday.
Uh-oh.
I'm at the veterinarian having a horse. I call it medically shod because when a horse is having issues, when a horse is having issues with their feet, their feet are their lifeline.
Right.
I mean, they can get an abscess in a foot and die,
and they're done
that easily. So this guy is medically treating the horse through the way it's being shod and leather pads and packing under there and all that. And really doing a fantastic job. Yeah. So there were a couple people up there. There was a young man up there that lives very close to me that he travels with these farriers. He's learning. Give him credit. 19, 20-year-old kid, and he's going to learn to do this for a living. And that's a hard living, but it's a good living. You make a lot of money. There was a young lady up there also who was asking questions, listening, learning. They had invited her to come watch and da-da-da-da. So she had walked out, and one of the guys said, there's your example of somebody who has gotten to know horses through the internet, doesn't know a thing about them, never had one, never touched one, but is standing here trying to tell you everything they've seen on the internet, that most of it's wrong, of how she's going to go about becoming a farrier. And he said, I told her to come here because I want her to see what it's really like and explain to her and let her watch and see so she can get real life. This is what it's like, instead of what you see on the internet.
Yeah.
And voiceover is no different. There are a lot of people watching stuff in groups, blah, 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 blah. And then they think it's this, they think it's that, because that's what somebody's telling them. One person's telling them. And then there's, nope, that's not really how it is. We wish it was like that. It would be great if it was, but everyone can't make six figures. Everyone can't do this. Everyone won't be able to do
won't
this.
do this.
Yeah,
Most
it's a small
won't make
percentage.
figures. I mean, it's just.
But we talked about those NAVA numbers, from the survey from the last couple years. 85% make less than $75,000 a year. 85% of the industry. So, expecting yourself to, everybody can do it. Okay, well, who's going to do it? It's not just talent. You've got to make the choice like we talked about a little bit ago. You got to make the choice, but you got to make that choice every day. So if you decide you're going to do X, that your day is going to look like that, then that needs to look like that on Monday and on Tuesday and on Wednesday and every day so that you are sticking to it. We call it the grind lovingly,
right?
Between the three of us. But it really can be a grind. But you got to do it.
Right.
Yeah, I mean that's that's the truth. That's the truth of the matter. Like you gotta make sure every day looks the same, or at least it's got to line up with your day-to-day plan, day-to-day goals, kind of thing. I mean, it's a lot of work, and if you don't respect the fact that it is a business, and you don't put in the effort, you're not gonna get back what you want out of it. You know what I mean?
Right.
It's not easy. It's hard. It's full of frustration. It's full of moments of just like not feeling great about yourself, not feeling great about your abilities, but there are rewarding moments in it. You know what I mean? And I really wish I could remember the quote, but I was listening to an episode of Smart List. It's a podcast with Will Arnett, Sean Hayes, and Jason Bateman or whatever.
Yeah.
And Matthew McConaughey was on, and they were talking about look, the people who get lucky are the people that put the work into it. And I don't remember, that's not verbatim. I wish I could remember it because it was great how he put it. But I mean, like he's right. Like the people who like book those big things or they get like the dream gig, the gig that just kind of makes their business turn. They're the people that put the work into it first. They didn't just get a setup and start auditioning and bada boom, bada bing, there they go. You know what I mean? Like they got up every day and decided, they made the choice to put in the effort, and then they eventually reap the benefits.
And we know that's true across all businesses, that it's that we've mentioned it before, that 3 to 5 year window.
Yeah.
And it's discouraging to think that you have to work for at least 3 to 5 years at something before you can start to see success or start to see a return.
Right.
Now, I can look back at when I first got into voiceover, and I thought about this today, or yesterday actually, that every week I've been in VO, I've made something. I've earned something. It's not been great, but I've earned something. Little by little, little by little. And you turn around and all of a sudden you're a 40-year overnight success.
As Lala Pettis would say.
As Lala Pettis says.
That was a great episode. She was great.
It was.
She was great. And if you guys haven't gone and checked out her MCVO or New England voiceover, we definitely highly recommend you go do that. She's got some cool stuff that you can look into. And and we've got great references if you need, Charles Coates. He can totally vouch for working with her so far.
Yep.
Well, guys, this has been kind of a short episode. I mean, like, I'm not trying,
that's
again,
okay.
Like, we didn't really have, like, a full-blown, like, topic to talk about, and that's probably my fault, but sometimes you just don't know where to go, you know what I mean? And then maybe sometimes you don't need to go for so long,
Yeah. Well, I think our episode I think this should be called Voices and Choices.
Voices and Choices.
That's what we talked about. We talked about the voices.com stuff.
Choices.com.
And the choices you have to make your business successful.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we'll go ahead and get out of here. We hope, this episode was long enough to get you to and from work. Well, not to and from, but maybe, on your commute to either work back or maybe back home. Maybe throw a workout. Sorry if you didn't have a backup plan. Tell us your backup plan or tell us your frustrations at anothervopodcast@gmail.com. Yep. I'm Jake Sanders. Do you guys got anything else to say?
That's it. I think we covered it.
Well, time to go sharpen some iron, I think.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
more to come.
Thanks again, guys. I'm Jake Sanders here with Alden Schoenberg, Troy Holden. Let's get out of here.
Peace.
See ya.
Thanks for making it all the way through another VO podcast with Jake, Alden, and Troy. We'd love to hear from you. Email us at anothervopodcast@gmail.com. And be sure to like or comment on your podcast platform. We drop episodes every week and interview peers once a month also. If you have something you'd like to ask or topics in mind we need to discuss, let us know. Otherwise, we hope to see you next week right here on another VO podcast.